Andrew Tate wants to be the Great British Prime Minister, which is not a sentence I thought I would say. Whether you think he's serious or not, or whether you think he should be taken seriously, some of the policies he suggested are clearly satire, but some are serious, I think. And with his reach, he was the most Googled man in Britain, I think for at least a couple of years, and the most Googled in the world, top 10 at least. So he's a pretty significant figure, and we've been critical of him in the past before on this podcast, but I wanted to look at his announcements because it's come at an interesting time, because obviously we've had Elon Musk putting a lot of pressure on the British government, and now at the same time we have Andrew Tate as well, criticising how things are being run and putting forward potential solutions to things, and some of them are quite interesting, and I think it's interesting as well because he's very popular with people that are probably younger than us. I think we're a little bit too old to fall for all of his flamboyant nonsense, but particularly young men.
He's trying way too hard.
Oh yeah, of course. Maybe we just don't go to the gym enough, Stelios. That's what it is. If we went to the gym more, we'd be able to afford some Lambos. But I actually do think some of the things he's put forward are quite good, even if he's not being entirely serious. Do I think he can win? Obviously not. Do I think he should win? Also no. I also don't think he's going to be that serious, although I have seen public figures saying, yeah, you go get him, Mr. Tate.
Who?
Oh, all sorts of people. Don't get me started. It will get me rambling, just like, you idiots. What are you doing? But anyway, it is worthwhile talking about what he's put forward because it is useful stuff to sort of shift things rightward, because some of the things he suggested are quite radical, and I think that that's interesting, particularly if it's something that's going to be discussed publicly. It's going to be things that he's going to put a lot of weight into, because he feels a certain sense of belonging to Britain and clearly wants to make it better. I might question some of his decisions as to how he goes about fixing it, but it does seem to be genuine. He doesn't need to go out of his way to suggest how to fix it, and any rightward shift in public discourse, whoever it comes from, is welcome in my mind.
Can you think of Andrew Tate speaking about a budget? Analyzing the budget?
Not really.
Okay.
I couldn't see him doing anything other than coming out to the lectern of the Prime Minister and treating it like a UFC weigh-in.
Yeah. Replies going, yeah, we saw politicians who spoke about a budget. We don't need a budget.
You challenge party leaders to fight him in the ring or something.
Yeah.
I mean, there are worse ideas. How much worse can it get? But here someone says the United Kingdom needs someone who is a warrior. Politicians are not saving them at this rate. This is a Fed post, basically. They need someone who's ready to go to war with the state as Trump. And then Andrew Tate says, I will do it. This is the thing that started it all off. And then he put out a poll, ultra serious post, which whenever people say that, I don't believe they're being serious. Should I enter politics and run for Prime Minister of the UK? 69%, nice, said yes, save Britain. 30% said no.
It's very reassuring that 31% of people who saw this said no, even on X.
I know, yeah.
Because I think really, I think only he and maybe his brother would think that it would be a good idea. I doubt it.
I imagine the numbers would be a bit more in the yes camp if it was someone like Jeremy Clarkson.
Yeah.
But that did have over 200,000 responses. And he shared the poll and said, Vox Populi, Vox Dei. So it's basically saying, I'll give you what you want. And then he says, the most Googled man in the world who is British, becoming the PM after that person you don't like became a member of EU Parliament from his YouTube channel at the time of his Great Awakening and distrust in the political class. Stranger things have happened. I'm 100% serious. I am in the next election. Until you've registered, I don't think you are, but I don't know. Maybe you have done that. Who knows? But he started sort of making jokes about this sort of thing, which made me think, hang on a minute, he's not as serious. Yeah. Like top G, the G stands for government. Which is
that's funny.
It is funny.
Yeah.
And he did have some good laughs with this stuff, and I didn't realise he had a sense of humour. I thought he took himself so seriously that he wasn't capable of humour. You know the people, right?
Yeah.
And things like this. Boats will be leaving, none will be arriving. Prime Minister Tate. All in caps, of course. It would be hilarious if actual politicians started doing this, just writing stuff that laconic in caps. It'd be, it could be better.
Shall be convened.
And he says, once I'm Prime Minister, with a typo, Shamima Begum remains exiled from the United Kingdom. If you're not from the UK, that's a girl who joined ISIS. Why, it's a matter of public debate. Whether she should come back. I mean, I would have personally preferred a debate about which kind of missile are we going to drop on her head. But alas, it wasn't up to me. And it says, however, anyone who legally attempted to return her to our great nation is instantly deported and permanently banned from entry. No traitors. And I like this. It's also weird that he's digging up this, because this is not in the news cycle. It's a random thing that must be sort of circulating in his mind. But I mean, if you had to pick a line,
it's fun also because there were lots of English people who defended her.
I know, yeah.
Yeah,
I think Peter Hitchens said that
also
she
Jacob Rees-Mogg.
that she should come back and face justice, and by that it means we'll pay for her to be imprisoned. So the taxpayer will pay money for it. Great, thanks. And then he said, I have not slept since announcing my political ambitions. Party announcement and manifesto release shortly. People of Great Britain, help is coming. Hold out for the cavalry. Don't give up. I will be the Prime Minister.
I actually... The idea is beginning to mature. I may vote for him.
Stelios, no. But no, he is trying to sell that he's being
you
serious.
Say no. Are you containment? Are you trying to contain Tate?
I'm going to announce I am now containment. Yes. Andrew Tate containment. I can't contain him. No one can. So here is his party. It starts off by saying, yes, bruv, the Britain Restoring Underlying Values Party, of course the acronym is BRUV, will restore the once great Britain. As leader, I'm held fully accountable. If the plan has not been actioned within 45 days of power, I will step down from leadership. No delays, charter below. I mean, I like the no-nonsense aspect of it.
Yeah.
If actual politicians were like this would be good.
Usually that's a sign of someone who doesn't want to be a politician.
Yeah, if you're saying sensible
things.
Obviously there's a sense of
Britain
humour.
restoring underlying values.
Obviously they tried to get it to fit the BRUV acronym because they thought it'd be funny.
Because also underline isn't that good there.
No.
It's more catchy or something.
But they have a website here where they have a charter and their core values. You can't really see it because we're in dark mode at the minute. But it was eventually removed from Twitter. His new party, it got 16,500 followers, and then it got removed. However, Elon personally came in to see the success of the party, saying not sure why it's suspended, but it seems fixed now. And this was pretty quick. So it was only a little speed bump in the skyrocketing of the BRUV Party to become the only true party in the UK, clearly. And here is the Twitter now. It's going strong at 106.7 thousand followers, which is a bit embarrassing because I've been doing this for 4 years and my follow count is not even close. So yes, even Andrew Tate's joke party is doing better than me. F's in the comments for my career. I don't know why I'm saying this. But here he is again. I could have sworn there was a charter in the link, Samson. If you could pull that up, that would be good. But here he says, as unofficial Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, I wholeheartedly support Greenland's annexation into the American Empire. Bit of a reference to our previous segment there. I have sent a diplomatic cable to the Danish stating, fighting America is insanity. You're cooked, bruv. Give it up. Which is funny. There's no way that that's not funny, and him looking very serious in front of the podium as well is funny. I didn't realise he had this in him. Still, I don't approve of the guy necessarily. The reason I I went over the link for the charter is because it's below this, isn't it? Thanks, Samson. It was my fault. I forgot my own links. But I'll come back to it now. Okay, so here's the charter. He's talking about accountability. He's got a very serious picture of himself, looking like he's sat in the old Lotus Eaters studio chairs there as well. And let's have a look at things like this. Harsh migrant control. I like the AI slop pictures. Talks about the cost of illegal migration, and the solution is clear. Not one more boat lands on British soil. Boats will be leaving the UK filled with illegal migrants, and not a single one will be arriving on our shores. So he's basically saying mass deportations here. So well done, Andrew. This is a campaign guarantee. The Royal Navy will patrol our waters. Our message will be clear. If you come here illegally, you will not set foot on this land. That's what I want to see. This is good. I like that. Do I think Andrew Tate has the ability to deliver this politically? I don't think so. But best of luck if this is your... And then he's got a little thing here talking about British men dying for British soil. Foreigners aren't allowed to break in. It's inspirational stuff, really. And here we go. He's talking about knife crime. He's suggesting here introducing BBC Punishment, a 24/7 live broadcast of knife crime offenders serving solitary confinement. No redemption arcs, no second chances, just the cold, hard reality of life wasted in a concrete cell. Now that's surprisingly clever, if not a bit dystopian, in that, you know, you get to watch a live stream of all of the knife criminals rot their life away in solitary confinement. And he says,
watch them do push-ups.
So I can't read that because the camera's in the way, but can you read that final paragraph?
Imagine a 50-year-old boy tempted to pick up a blade, turning on the TV and seeing a man grow old and die alone. That's not cruelty, it's deterrence, and it will save lives.
So I'm not going to lie, that's pretty good. I can't see the policy going down well, but I like the spirit of it.
I also can't see how the boy is going... the 15-year-old is just going to look at the whole life of someone on a prison in a matter of seconds and say, well, maybe I shouldn't.
It's pre-recorded and sped up. It's like a time lapse. Yeah. He talks about the BBC being a place of child exploitation, and that he's trying to return it to factual reporting, not propaganda, which I think just privatise it, get rid of it. This one's interesting. Get rid of the LGBTQ plus materials in education. It's indoctrination. Ban it from schools. That's a genuinely good idea. And teach traditional family values of respect, responsibility, and the importance of strong family bonds. That's actually quite good. I agree with that. Andrew Tate, you are right on that. I liked this one as well. This one was probably the strongest one of them all. Appoint a minister for British culture to celebrate and preserve our history. I mean, we've got lots of preservation already, but, you know, preserving our history is a national pastime. We've already got things like the National Trust and, you know, national parks and things like that, and lots of dedicated protection sites. So expanding that's a good idea, I think. I like this one. I think it should be, a fewer percentage, but cap on non-British residents at 10% of the population to maintain cultural balance. That would still mean mass deportations now, because it's, less than that. And also, to keep it at that 10%, you would gradually have to deport people as they had more children. So that would get a bit messy. I personally think there should be fewer than 10%, personally.
Okay, question, Josh, because, you know, I'm a foreigner, in case you don't know.
You're honorarily British, okay?
Okay.
You're allowed.
So when I look at him, I don't think he English culture isn't what comes to mind, let's say.
In Andrew Tate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, agree or disagree.
You don't necessarily have to embody something to appreciate it. You know, I appreciate Japanese culture, but I don't necessarily embody it in my life, do I?
Yeah,
so, you know, give him the benefit of the doubt here. But no, I know what you're saying. And, I think Europeans, I'm fine with. Europeans can exist in a civilization, and that's okay. It's mainly other parts of the world that cause us problems. He says, replace modern art, in quotation marks, with statues and monuments honouring British heroes. I'm all for that. I think we need more statues of key people. That's good. That makes you feel like you're part of something great. Every street in Britain feels British with English signage, flags, and traditional architecture. I imagine the Scots would object to that, but I think he's okay for Scotland being Scottish. We're not going to put an English flag up in Scottish streets. I wouldn't do that to them. But I think that's important because he's suggesting that Britain doesn't feel British and there's something good about feeling British in Britain. And if this is going out to a Zoomer, fan base of young and impressionable kids, telling them that Britain feeling British is a good thing, is even if it's him joking around, that's not a bad thing. That's good for politics of our side, right? And
I don't think it's what people who are annoyed at him are annoyed with.
Of course, yeah. And any illegal migrants which is identified by a police officer will be arrested and deported from the nation within 7 days. No court case. Very based. No compromises. Illegals will leave. You have no right to British soil. That's the spirit. There is some good stuff here. We might have awoken a patriot here, even though the questions about his views on Islam and things like that. He's talking about outdated manufacturing. Forget about building stuff in your country. You need a nation of businessmen. So his Hustlers University is going to be mandatory in schools now.
Revolutionizing education, because education is important.
So he's just like, yes, we need loads of businessmen, pioneers, and tech stuff, which I disagree with. I actually think you need industry in your country. But, encouraging people to start businesses, there could be worse things in the world. He's talking about abolishing foreign aid and spending it at home. No more foreign wars. These are two good things that I just unequivocally agree with. People who pay taxes get priority in the NHS. So he's not saying privatise it like I would. But I would take priority treatment. I pay a lot of money into the system and get nothing in return. Zero. Like, I don't use any government services. I am just a cash cow for the state. Also, MPs that don't, over 30% of MPs fail to meet basic attendance standards, basically have expectations for MPs to do their job. You've got to turn up. He's suggesting weekly referendums, which is probably too much. Basically saying if you don't show up, you're out, which is probably a good approach and not a bad thing.
Where are people going to show up? It's got to be electronic, yeah.
Probably. There's going to be lots of computer screens. Zero tolerance for crime, lots of plainclothes officers in London. That's just dystopian. You just have police jumping out of nowhere. You've basically created a secret police force. Not a good idea. A more transparent tax system. That's actually a good idea. Basically stop punishing people for being ambitious. So just reduce taxes and stop making it heavily weighted. This was quite good as well. Encourage more masculine pursuits. I'm not surprised he's saying this. Boxing and wrestling in schools. I already did boxing in school, so you've already got your wish. And this one was weird. He's saying that he wants to make it possible to license armed security in the street to help solve crime. So basically, I think what he's trying to say is if we have more armed security around, things will be safer. And so it's a temporary measure, maybe? I don't know. But it seems a bit scary just to have outside every shop someone with a gun. I mean, I'd feel a lot safer, I suppose, but still. Talking about a national Bitcoin reserve, that's actually clever. And nuclear power for energy independence, again, another good idea. So it's not actually all bad. And there you go.
Well, actually, that shows how ridiculous Western policy is right now.
Yeah, Andrew Tate, whose background is in kickboxing and running an online pornography business to make his money, if he can come up with better policies than a lot of the mainstream politicians,
that's concerning.
It is concerning, yeah. I mean, I did enjoy reading them. They were fun, some of them. But I don't think he should necessarily be taken seriously. I don't think he's going to rescue British politics, but popularising some of these ideas is a good idea because a lot of those I actually thought were quite good. I was pleasantly surprised. And he has been saying funny things as well, like more on Greenland. He's saying Greenland will be conquered by the USA and used as a perma-refrigeration for Bitcoin mining operations. So one of the problems of Bitcoin mining is it generates a lot of heat, and he's thinking, well, it's cold, so it's going to make it cheaper, and therefore it's more efficient to have it in Greenland. Which is kind of funny in a sort of clever way. And the final thing I quite liked was this. He stated that his new political party, BRUV, will not cater to Zionists or Islamists, instead seeking to restore Christian Britain. So he's basically saying, I want to restore it to this. You're meant to be Christian, even though I think he identifies more with Islam, doesn't he, these days? He's saying, Britain's not meant to be Muslim. Britain's meant to be Christian. So at least he didn't throw us under the bus on that respect, I suppose. I also thought it was funny that he threw in Zionists there as well. That's going to ruffle a few feathers, which is always funny. And what do you think, Stelios? Do you think he's in for the running? What do you make of the policies?
He will run. Yeah, I think he will run.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he doesn't think he will right now. Maybe he thinks it's all a joke, but people will push him to.
I wouldn't be surprised, actually. I think this is probably not the last we've heard of Andrew Tate in British politics this year. If you would like to watch the full uncut version that is also uncensored, head on over to lotuseaters.com to find out more.